The simulation mirror. What if everything you've ever seen wasn't real? Not because it didn't exist, but because it only existed when you looked. Imagine a mirror. You're standing in front of it. You see yourself. But the reflection isn't just copying you, it's waiting for you. And without you there, there's nothing to reflect. Now imagine that the entire universe is like that mirror. When you're not looking, it doesn't bother showing up. This is the simulation mirror, a paradox built on the strange idea that reality is rendered only for the observer. Just like a video game engine only loads what's in front of the player. You walk through a forest. Trees behind you blur into nothing, not because you forget them, but because they don't need to be real anymore. They served their purpose. They've been unloaded. In quantum mechanics, there's a concept called the observer effect. It says that the act of observation changes what is being observed. Particles behave like waves. Until you look, then they collapse into certainty. Like a question that never needed an answer until someone asked it. If no one ever observed the universe, would it have ever been real? We assume reality is constant, that the world is there when our eyes are closed, that distant galaxies burn on, even when no one sees their light. But the simulation mirror says, what if they don't? In dreams, everything feels real. Mountains, people, pain, and then you wake up. The entire world you were in vanishes in a blink. But what if waking life was the same kind of illusion, only better at pretending? The simulation mirror suggests that reality isn't something we live in, but something that lives inside of us, a program that renders pixels, thoughts, laws of physics, but only when we're watching. You enter a room. It looks empty. But did it exist before you opened the door? That's the paradox. You can't prove it did. You can only assume, but every assumption is built on memory, and memory is just another render, another script in the simulation. Some scientists and philosophers argue that our universe might be a simulation, but the paradox goes deeper. It's not just about being simulated, it's about needing observation to be real. If a tree falls in a simulated forest and no one is around to observe it, not even the code, did it fall at all? Was there even a tree? What makes this more unsettling is that you can't disprove it. You can't step outside reality to check if it's running. You can't peek behind the screen to see the engine. You're inside the mirror, and the mirror only reflects what you're allowed to see. What if your consciousness is the graphics card of the universe? Without you, the lights go out, the code sleeps, nothing is rendered, nothing exists. You are not a player in the world. You are the rendering engine. You are the one causing time to move, objects to appear, physics to obey rules. But you're not in control. You can't pause the game. You can't reload. You're just here, experiencing a reflection that needs you to stay real. And here's the deepest twist. If reality needs you to observe it, then you are more real than reality itself. The simulation mirror is not a glitch. It's not a mistake in perception. It's a fundamental uncertainty built into the way existence works. Nothing is solid. Until you look, nothing is real. until you believe. But if that's true, then even this moment, you, lying still, drifting toward sleep, this too may only exist because your awareness is passing through it. When your thoughts dissolve and dreams take over, what happens to the mirror? Does it keep reflecting? Or does the world vanish? Quietly. With you, the observer's cage. There's something strange about perception. It feels complete, convincing, certain. You see the room, the ceiling, the shape of your hands. You hear sounds, feel warmth or cold. But what if all of this is a carefully constructed cage that you can never escape? The observer's cage isn't built of steel, it's built of limits. Limits on what you can sense, limits on what your brain can decode, limits on what you're allowed to experience. You see color dash, but only a thin slice of the electromagnetic spectrum. You hear vibrations, but only within a narrow band of frequencies. Everything else is invisible, inaudible, unnoticeable. Not because it's not real, but because it's outside the walls of your awareness. You believe the world is out there, waiting for you to experience it. But what you call the world is already filtered by biology, edited by evolution, simplified by the brain. Reality, as you experience it, is not reality. It's a simulation running inside your head. Your brain doesn't interact with the outside world. It never touches it. Everything you've ever known comes from electrical signals that your nervous system receives and interprets. You're not seeing reality. You're seeing a version of reality translated into signals you can understand. It's not the world itself. It's a controlled hallucination. And here lies the paradox. If the mind can never access the world directly, how do you know the world is even there? You trust your senses, but what if they lie? Not maliciously, but by design. If the only things you can know are the things your brain can process, then you're always looking through a lens that you didn't choose. You are observing the universe from within a cage made of perception. Everything you believe, every truth, every memory, every image of the world was constructed inside your mind. You think of the moon as round and cold and distant, but you've never touched it. You've never seen it without filters. Your idea of the moon is based on light signals, processed through layers of biology and thought. The same is true for everything. You've never truly seen your own face, only reflections, photos, the shadows of photons bouncing back at you. You've never truly heard your own voice, only echoes in the air or vibrations through a device. Even the idea of self, of you, may be just another creation inside this perceptual cage. Here's where the paradox deepens. If reality only exists as it is perceived, then perception is not just how you understand the world. It is the world. There is no external verification, no way to escape the mind and check what's real. From the outside, you might imagine a world beyond thought, a pure, objective truth, but you could never know it directly. You'd always be trapped inside the observer's cage. This doesn't mean reality doesn't exist. It means your version of reality might be the only one you can ever know. And if 10 people see 10 versions of the same thing, who's right? Is reality a consensus? a democratic illusion? Or is each person living in their own private universe, shaped by biology, history, memory, and chance? Think of dreams. They feel real when you're inside them. You interact, you believe, you fear, and then, when you wake up, you realize the truth, or what you assume is truth. But what if waking life is just another level of the dream, one with more stable rules, longer timelines, higher resolution? Still a cage, though, just one you forgot you were in. The observer's cage isn't cruel. It protects you from infinite chaos, from data overload, from the unbearable complexity of what's truly out there, if there is anything out there. But protection has a price, and the price is that you'll never know what's beyond the bars. You can explore the world, map every atom, simulate galaxies, but you'll always be doing it from inside the system. The rules never break, the lens never falls off, even when you question reality. Even now, you're using the same flawed perception to do so, like a prisoner drawing maps of the outside, based only on echoes and shadows on the wall. So the paradox is simple. You trust your senses to understand reality, but your senses may be what's preventing you from ever seeing reality at all. And once you realize that, you're no longer just living in the world, you're peering at the walls around it. You start to wonder, is reality something you witness, or something that's been carefully placed in front of your mind to keep you from looking beyond? Dreaming the dreamer. You have had dreams before. Some were strange. Some felt longer than time itself. Some ended abruptly, like falling through the floor of your own mind. But the most haunting dreams were the ones where you didn't know you were dreaming. That's the paradox. If a dream can feel completely real, with time, space, emotion, even logic, then what separates dreams from what you call waking life? You wake up in your bed, you get dressed, you feel the texture of your shirt, you hear traffic, you check the date, and none of it feels fake. But it didn't feel fake in the dream either. You can dream of an entire day. You can remember a past that never happened. You can feel guilt for things you never did, love for people you've never met. You can suffer, you can scream, you can think, and none of it was ever real. Or was it? Here's the paradox. If the brain is capable of simulating a full, convincing reality while asleep, how do you know you're not in one now? What tells you this is different? Memories. They can be manufactured. They are every day. Every time you recall a moment, you rewrite it slightly. Consistency? Even dreams have rules. They just change when you stop paying attention. Pain? You can feel pain in dreams. Fear, too. Some dreams leave marks that last for years. So, what proves this is not just another layer of dreaming? Consider the philosopher Descartes, who said, I think, therefore I am. But what if even thinking is part of the dream? What if the voice in your head is just one more illusion created to make the dream feel deeper? You assume a dreamer must exist, a self behind it all, the observer, the anchor, the one who wakes up. But what if that too is just part of the simulation? The dreamer is being dreamed. You are not the one inside the dream. You are the dream itself, a process, a ripple, a temporary hallucination, believing it's permanent. If a simulation is perfect, it becomes indistinguishable from what it simulates. You could simulate light, texture, heat, emotion, memory, and the person inside wouldn't know. Why would they? To them, it would just be life. So now imagine everything you know, every person you've ever loved, every thought you've had, all part of a self generating dream with no beginning and no one to wake up. You are not dreaming the dream. You are the dream being dreamed by nothing at all. You were born with no memory. You'll die into uncertainty. Everything in between is a mystery wrapped in sensation. And still, you go on. You eat, you walk, you speak, you build civilizations within a reality you can never verify. This is not a glitch. It may be the system working as intended, because consciousness might not be a thing you have. It might be something the universe does to watch itself. And if that's true, then dreams and reality aren't opposites. They are mirrors, reflections within reflections. Every night, you dissolve. You forget who you were. You become something else. And you don't question it. But in waking life, you cling to the illusion of self, as if it's solid, as if it can't evaporate, the way dreams do. This is the paradox. The self that insists it is real might be the biggest illusion of all, a flickering process, trying to hold still, a wave, trying to believe it's not water. And so you wonder if you're not the one dreaming, but the dream itself, who or what is about to wake up, the reality that waits for you. There is a table in a room, but the room is sealed. No one is inside, no eyes to see it, no light to touch it, no mind to think about it. So here's the question. Is the table still there? You want to say yes. Of course it is. Things don't stop existing just because no one's looking. But quantum mechanics disagrees. At the smallest scales of the universe, particles do not have fixed positions until they are observed. A photon can act like a wave, spread out, uncertain, possible, until something detects it. Then, instantly, it becomes a point, localized, measurable, real. This is the observer effect. And it's not about consciousness, it's about measurement. The paradox is this: before measurement, the universe behaves like a question. After measurement, it behaves like an answer. So, what is the world doing when no one is asking? There's a famous thought experiment, Schrodinger's cat. A cat inside a box, a mechanism tied to a quantum event. If the event occurs, the cat dies. If not, it lives. But until someone opens the box, the system is unresolved. Both outcomes coexist. The cat is alive and dead, not metaphorically, mathematically. And if that's true, then perhaps every object, every event, every moment is in a suspended state until observed. The universe doesn't render itself until you look, not because it's fake, but because rendering everything at once is wasteful. like a game engine loading only the parts of the world you're standing in. You think you're seeing reality, but you're only seeing a sliver, a narrow band of light, a tiny range of sound, just the local rendering of something much larger, waiting for attention. The rest is on pause, unfolded, incomplete. Now imagine the world around you is not a solid, objective structure. It's a dynamic, living probability field. Mountains don't stand in place unless someone sees them. Events don't occur until someone notices. Even time may not move unless something watches the clock. This isn't speculation. It's built into the mathematics of the universe's smallest parts. So, what is real? Is the moon there when no one looks at it? Einstein thought yes. Others say no, because what we call real might only be the trail left behind by a collapsing wave function, a decision made at the moment of interaction. And that means this: your reality might be waiting for you to arrive. A road appears when you walk, a memory locks in when you recall it, a possibility becomes history because you noticed. It doesn't mean you invented it, it means your participation was part of the equation. You are not outside the system, you are inside it, entangled with it. And that leads to another paradox. If observation collapses probabilities, then you are never just watching the world. You are helping shape which version of it becomes real. And that raises a final question. How much of what you call reality isn't out there, but waiting inside the possible, silent and unseen, until you look, the loop that creates itself? A man travels back in time. He arrives in a quiet village, decades before his own birth. There, he meets a child. He teaches the child everything he knows: science, history, philosophy. The child grows, becomes a thinker, and one day invents a machine that allows time travel. That child, now an old man, sends someone back to teach the child. Who created the machine? The man who traveled back learned it from the boy. The boy who became the inventor learned it from the traveler. So, where did the knowledge come from? That's the paradox. A loop with no beginning, no origin, no first cause. Cause becomes effect. Effect becomes cause. And if time allows such loops, then not all things are born. Some are just passed around forever. You imagine time as a straight line, a past leading to a present, heading toward a future. But some theories suggest that time doesn't flow, it just exists. Like a map, you don't move through time. You're already where you are. The past isn't behind you, the future isn't ahead. They're all there, layered, simultaneous, timeless. Now imagine you pick up a book. Inside, it says everything you will do tomorrow. You try to avoid it. You change your actions. But when you open the book again, the words have changed too. They still match what you do. No matter what choices you make, the book always knew. So you ask, did you choose? Or did the book write it first? What if your entire life is already written and you're the loop that reads it? Maybe the reason you feel free is because you're not the first you, you're the 10th or the 1000th. Each time the loop resets, You make the same decisions because the conditions are always the same. The question isn't what will happen, it's what already happened. Again, you wake up, you act, you sleep, and somewhere it begins again. The loop doesn't care if you remember. The loop only cares that you run. Now imagine this on a cosmic scale. The universe expands. Stars are born. Worlds form. Life appears. It grows, dies, returns to dust. And then, perhaps after billions of years, it folds back, collapses, and starts over. Not from a blank slate, but from the very same script. Not a copy, not a clone. The exact same universe, again and again. You think of birth as a beginning, but what if it's just the return? And death, not an end, just the hand reaching to turn the page. In this paradox, nothing is truly created. It's only remembered, repeated, lived again. Not because you chose to, but because that's what the loop does. The observer that creates the world. You wake up in a room you've never seen. There are no windows, no doors, just a mirror. But this mirror doesn't show your reflection. It shows the world behind you. A forest, mountains, rivers. When you turn around, the room has changed. Now the forest is there. You look again at the mirror, and it now shows a city skyline. You turn again. Now you're in the city. You're not moving through space. The space is moving through you. This is not fantasy. It's a metaphor for a question in physics, one that collapses the line between mind and matter. It begins with quantum mechanics. Particles exist in multiple states until they are observed. A photon isn't here or there, it's everywhere. But when you look, when you measure, it chooses a place. It decides to be. In the double slit experiment, light acts like a wave when no one is watching, but when observed, it acts like a particle, like it knows it's being watched. So, what does this mean? Does your consciousness shape reality? Is the world collapsing into form only when it is seen? Imagine walking into a room. Is the room already there? Or is it generated like a video game? The moment you open the door? If particles choose their state when you look, what happens when no one is looking? Is there a reality at all? Now, imagine the entire universe before life existed. No observers, no eyes, no mind. Was it real? Did the moon exist before something could see it? Einstein once asked, does the moon exist if I'm not looking at it? Maybe not. Maybe the universe needs witnesses. Maybe reality doesn't come first. Maybe mind does. And if observation creates the world, then what are you? A mind watching particles collapse into meaning? A player rendering a game as you go? Or are you the game? Consider this. Your dreams feel real while you dream them. In those moments, you walk, breathe, feel emotion. The world around you has form, space, logic, but it's all generated by your brain. No molecules, no light, just signals interpreted as reality. So, if your brain can create a world while you sleep, why not when you're awake? What makes this waking life more real than your dreams? What if you're not observing reality, but imagining it? together, collectively. And if you stop imagining it, does it vanish? The paradox is this. If reality requires an observer, but the observer is part of reality, then who observed the first observer? Who collapsed the first particle? What consciousness lit the first spark? You cannot be both the dream and the dreamer. But maybe you are. Maybe that's what you've always been. Not a being in a world, but the awareness that makes worlds possible. A silent witness, creating everything just by seeing, not with eyes, but with existence itself. And then you realize something else. The observer is not just watching, it's choosing, not just collapsing possibility, but directing it. Every thought you have sends a ripple through the quantum field. Every belief you hold filters the patterns of what becomes real. If you believe you are trapped, you collapse a world of walls. If you believe you are free, you create space to run. If you believe you are small, you reduce the universe to fit your frame. But if you believe you're vast, then the universe must stretch to meet you. This is not magic. It's perception. It's reality, shaped by focus. And if enough observers agree on a world, it becomes fixed, stable, predictable, not because it is real, but because it is repeated. That's the secret of the simulation. Not that it's fake, but that it's flexible. Not that it's a lie, but that it's alive, malleable, plastic, responsive. So the question is no longer, what is real? But what are you choosing to make real? Every second you observe, you create. Every second you create, you observe. You're not in the universe. The universe is in you, a flicker of mind dreaming itself awake. And when you finally stop observing, when your vision fades, the world might vanish, or it might wait, waiting to be seen again by someone new, or maybe by you. Once more, the backwards universe. Imagine this. You wake up and everything has already happened. Not will happen, as you don't make choices. You discover them, like reading a book you can't change, but haven't finished. You feel like time moves forward, moment to moment, from past to future, like a river. But what if it flows the other way? What if the future is pulling the present into itself, like gravity? In some interpretations of physics, time is symmetrical. The equations that describe motion, particles, energy, they work in both directions, forwards and backwards. But if physics doesn't care about direction, why do you? Why do you remember yesterday, but not tomorrow? Why does a broken cup never unbreak? Why does smoke never gather itself back into fire? These seem like laws, but they're not. They're habits of entropy, order becoming disorder, a direction built from chaos, not from truth. So here's the paradox. What if the arrow of time isn't real? What if it's just how your mind organizes events to make sense of them? What if cause and effect are illusions? You don't see the future because you can't imagine it, not because it hasn't happened. But what if your actions today are not shaping the future, but responding to it? What if the future is already written and it's shaping your thoughts? Right now, a physicist named Wheeler once suggested: a delayed choice experiment. A photon decides whether to behave like a wave or a particle based on something you do after it passes through a slit. The future, changing the past, it shouldn't be possible. And yet, it happens. Reality, not obeying cause, but bending to observation, even retroactively. So now picture this: everything you do, every step you take, every word you say is not leading somewhere, but arriving. You're walking into footprints already placed. You are not carving a path, you are revealing it. And maybe that's why deja vu feels so strange, like remembering the future, like a glitch in a program that pretends to be unfolding in real time. But it's not real time, it's playback. Now ask: if time is not flowing, but fixed, if past and future are just coordinates, then what does it mean to change? If everything has already happened, what is free will? Do you choose coffee over tea, or was that already baked into the shape of your timeline? Maybe your thoughts aren't forming decisions, they're decoding them. Your brain as a receiver, not a generator. And then, what is now? It feels like the cutting edge of the future, but maybe it's just a spotlight moving along a film reel, and maybe that reel exists all at once: your birth, your last breath, your most forgotten moment, your most important one, all here, all now, outside of time. They are all equally real. You are not traveling, you are unfolding. And the strange truth is, some physicists think the present doesn't even exist. It's not a place in time, it's a story the brain tells itself to stay sane. But what if we embraced the opposite? What if there is only now? What if the past is a dream and the future is memory playing in reverse, time as a loop? You have lived this before, you will live it again. And every time you think it's the first, and every time you forget that the end has already happened. Maybe it's not about control, maybe it's not about choice, maybe reality is a path you are destined to walk, but your steps still matter, because though the book is written, you are still the reader, and you get to feel each word.